Good evening, good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Moralo Nemataini from Empowered Women Book Club, and we are so excited to be hosting you this evening where we have this credit repair masterclass. Thank you. We know it's a Friday evening and it's such a good time to talk about these things because Friday, that's where things happen, things that affect our credit and move us to the other side. Yo, okay. I see the comments. Yeah, we were ready for this. Yes. So and like how we do with most of our sessions, I will give you some time to come in, introduce yourself, because we see this also as a space to connect and also just to know who else is in the room. So your 30 seconds to shine. Is there anyone that is ready to unmute, introduce themselves? Mashudu, are you available to do a quick intro about yourself and what you do?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Do you need a video?
Your volume is very
I'm
low.
just kidding. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just put my apologies for that. Am I audible now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Mashudu Mbele. I'm a Master Life Transformation Coach, an NLP practitioner. I'm also a credit repair coach as well. And what else? I'm a negative emotional therapy practitioner and also an accredited facilitator. So I provide a safe space for you to unpack your problems. By mastering your mind, I help you to thrive and live a happy life. So I work with individuals, mostly it's women, and after that I work with their families, and it could be their kids. The techniques that I do, they only work from 10-year-olds upwards, and I also work with organizations where I offer employee wellness support services, transformation coach, and also I also do workshops. So that is what I specialize. So it could be anything transformational in terms of improving your life, and then in terms of organizations about improving their productivity, their wellness, and also looking at the business consulting in terms of breaking down the strategy so that even the shop floor understand it. So I do look deeper into the organization to help them to look at their challenges. Being a metallurgical engineer, so I also have got that gift, I'll say the talent to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the introduction, the mind doctor. Yeah, you owe us a session. We need to hear more and you unpack what you do so that people can know about these things and also use your services. Thank you so much. Busisiwe, we're doing introductions. Are you in a space where you can quickly introduce yourself?
Sorry, press. I was just doing something here. Good evening, everybody. It's Busisiwe Ngwenya. I'm an author and Triple B consultant. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You owe us a post around how we can order your book. We've been waiting.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. Rorisang?
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is well. And I'm just a student. I'm here to just learn. on everything that's happening here. I don't have any accreditations. I just as yet, so yeah, I'm just here as a student. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I know more about you, but because you're just like for tonight, that's what you can share. There's still more that we're going to unpack as we go through this journey. You've got a lot of accreditations that I know. Thank you for that introduction. Huti, are you available to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Molalo. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you,
Hello.
Molalo. My name is Puti Mutapo. I I sell plants. That's what I do. Indoor, outdoor. That's the main thing that I do. But I also work as head of marketing and communications at Capricorn District Municipality, and I'm also the immediate past president of PRISA. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Let's see who else is here. Tebelo Moremi, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Tebelo Moremi. I am based in Joburg. I work for Nedbank and yeah, that's it about me.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us. Sembani, is that you, Kani?
Yes, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to confuse you.
Hi, be confused. The surname says that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sembani, popularly known as Kanesha. I work in the military. I'm a soldier. I can run and shoot at the same time. And I specialize in primary and occupational health. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. You're from the bank to the military. Okay. I didn't know that part about you. Mr. Marubini, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Marubin Usawote. We are multicolors painting. We are doing construction in painting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for the introductions. Not to waste so much time. So if there's anyone that I missed that would like to introduce themselves, oh yeah, the comments I can run and shoot at the same time. Today we're shooting credits and speaking credit repair, credit scores, and all the good things that we like to hear. So I'm going to hand over to our guest, Nokubonga. If you can come on screen, I'll spotlight you for everyone to see you, and then you can start with your session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Greetings, everyone. It's such a humbling experience to be part of this community, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Igama, my name is Nokubonga. I am a credit repair coach and a paralegal facilitator at People's Law Center in Moorbrain, Cape Town. My specialty or my field of expertise is in debt, credit, and consumer rights. I have this love and passion for teaching as well. My background is in teaching, primary school teacher. So I am such, what do they call it? I'm passionate about empowerment and education. So today I would like us to just go through in the credit repair or a credit repair session. I don't know if some people can also, if they feel like they can take out their credit report as well to have an idea, as I'm talking, of some of the things that you personally might relate to them, so, and might answer your questions. So what is a credit repair? I believe that some of us, we might be familiar or we might even know what it is. It's a concept that generally people or the consumer office or the consumer department assume that most South Africans are familiar, or they should know what is credit repairing. And there is also this belief that everyone or anyone can repair their own credit. So why am I an expert in it? I realized that, or we have realized that, there are a lot of those like unclear laws, or those like unfamiliar terms that a mere man or a layman, in a layman's term, someone might not understand how to apply them on their own personal situations. Some of these laws are very, the English that they use is very not difficult, but it can be very tricky. So I'm an expert in a sense that we make credit make sense, or we make these laws make sense to a layman's perspective. So where I'm going to start, I'm going to begin on just describing or explaining what is a credit profile, or where does this concept of credit score comes from, or where does this concept of credit report comes from. Back in the days, I grew up hearing of blacklisted, once you are in debt, we believed that you are blacklisted. And I used to hear people saying that I am on credit bureau. And that was a very negative thing. Like the moment you hear someone saying I'm on credit bureau, you know that is a negative, it has a negative connotation attached to it. So back in the days, people were blacklisted and they would just be told that you are on credit bureau without any explanation. What does that mean? And then over the years, they decided to come up with a concept of scoring instead of just labeling people instead of just saying people are blacklisted or people are on credit bureau. The consumer department, the government, and all the stakeholders, they sat down and they decided, let's come up with not come up, but they brought the scoring criteria into consumers to understand ukuthi once you obtain credit, you will fall under a certain scoring categories. So credit bureau, it's just I want to explain it in this way. It's just entities that are trusted with information of consumers. They are trusted with information that gives creditors information about Nokubonga, how is her credit worthiness in terms of my payment, how am I paying my debts, how am I, how am I accessing credit? So the credit bureaus, they are just entities entrusted with such information. So if someone is on credit bureau, it does not mean it's a negative, there's a negative connotation attached to it. It just means that I am now accessing a credit. So then the concept of credit score, it's just an indication of how am I behaving, or how is my credit history is reflecting. So I've explained what is credit bureau. I've also run through a credit score. So we all, once we hit the age of 18 as South Africans, we are all in a position where we can access a credit, meaning that we can start creating a credit profile on the credit bureaus, meaning that we all can be on credit bureau, given okanye depending on the fact that we are accessing credit. So credit profile is just, I would put it this way, it's just my CV on creditors. Whenever creditors wants to check my standing, they will go on Credit Bureau and they will access my credit profile and then have a look over how is Nokubonga, is she a trusted consumer, or is she a trusted client or potential customer for us to lend her the money? So we are all can be listed on Credit Bureau. So I wanted to also just go through that. Why am I clarifying that? I've been getting a lot of questions. Someone would ask me, are you able to help someone who is on Credit Bureau? And it gave me the indication that not every one of us understand that we can all be on Credit Bureau as long as we are accessing credit. So the credit profile now, so credit report, it's when you take out the profile from credit bureaus. That information, when it's in your hand or once you print it out or once you download it, it becomes your credit report. It gives a report of my information. But once you go to credit bureaus, they call it your credit profile. So your profile will always be found on credit bureaus. So the profiles are structured or are categorized in different sections, and they give points, they allocate points on each of these profiles, so that whenever I access a credit, they can what you call it, they can attach my points based on what I'm doing. If I'm opening an account, they look what kind of an account it is, and then they will take certain points and attach to these categories. So I just wanted to just give a background on what is a credit profile and what is a credit report. So what we find on credit report, or the first things that you might notice on your credit report, it will be your name, or most of the time, it will be your personal information. Some of the credit bureaus might also share your employment information. If you have a business, it might also be on your credit profile. And then the second thing that you might notice is your credit score. So your credit score would be right after your information. Why am I'm also explaining your personal information. It is important that when you access your credit report, or when you access your credit profile, you do check if your names are appearing correctly, because that also might have an impact on your credit profile. And then the second thing I've mentioned is your credit score. And then your credit, I will use Experian as an example. With Experian, you can have up to 850, or you can have up to, 850 to be regarded as a good consumer or a good customer. The lowest would be something lesser than less than 400. So once your score is less than 400 points, then they will label you as very high risk. So that's the second thing. It's the credit score. So I want to go through the things that might impact now your credit score, or the things that you would find on your credit report. So after the credit score, you would find inquiries. Inquiries, it's when I go to a creditor and I apply for credit. That is called an inquiry, meaning that I am inquiring, or I am applying for credit. If I go to insurance, it's called a soft inquiry, meaning that it might not show on my credit report. If it shows, it might not have an impact. And then you've got things that are called hard inquiries. Hard inquiries, they now affect the credit score. They might take the credit score down. If I go to a bank and I make an inquiry and they reject me, I go to bank number Z, I make an inquiry and they reject me, I go to the third bank and I make an application and they reject me, those inquiries will be listed on my credit profile and they will affect my credit score negatively. So it is very important that when you do inquiries, you understand that it will affect your credit score as well. And then the next thing that you find is your accounts. So all your accounts will be listed there. And then at the bottom, after your accounts, and at the bottom, then there would be more information. There would be, I'm just gonna look quickly on this report. Yeah, there would be disputes, or there would be judgment, or there would be, what you call it, this thing, debt review, or there would be sequestrations. It depends on what now, your legal steps that have been taken against the client. So now we're going to go through the accounts. So we know that when you go and open an account, you are making an agreement with the creditor, and the agreement will depend on the terms and the conditions that are in the agreement. If they say that you must make a payment every end of the month, then you must make payment every end of the month. Failure to do so, then the creditor will report to the bureaus that you have missed payments. And then it will, it's either you miss payment 2 times or 3 times, it depends. So every time you miss a payment, then there's a consequence for that action. So that activity, it will reflect on your credit profile. That's what we call negative flags. So it's the beginning now of the habits that might lead to bigger problems on your credit profile. So we're going to focus on these accounts. You missed a payment, you are in arrears. You missed a payment, you are flagged as in default. You miss a payment, now the creditor is calling you constantly, or reminding you, or sending you a message that kindly make a payment or make an arrangement. Failure to do so, the creditor might take you to collection, might hand you over to collecting agent, or they might take the route of the court, depending on the agreement. If now, let's say, for example, that the creditor decides to hand you over to collectors, your account might be now flagged as handed over. Then it is a default. You have defaulted and you are handed over. That default affects your credit score. You might be able to still apply. You might be able to still apply for other credit facilities, but you might not be able to qualify for bigger things having. You are behind on the bank decides to go to court and take the court instead of like just calling you or and the court decide to grant them a judgment, then it means now you have a judgment on your credit profile. What is a judgment? A judgment, it's when the creditor decides to take Nokubonga to court when Nokubonga fails to make payment on the account that I have with this particular, let's say, bank. The bank will take me to court. Before they take me to court, they will send me summons. They will give me an opportunity to make arrangement. They will give me not enough time, because all of these things are time constrained, but they will give me, time to act or to react. Failure to do so, the court will grant, or the court might grant the bank a judgment that's called a default, by default, meaning that even if I'm there, or even if I didn't go, the bank would still get judgment against me. So what are the consequences of a judgment? Once the bank, or whoever the credit institute has obtained judgment against me, it gives them the right to act in any way they see fit in order for them to get back their money. They might order a garnish. A garnish is when I am getting salary, and then the bank goes to my employer, or my employer, and ask them and tell them that they must deduct a certain amount of money straight from my salary to the bank. So because of the judgment, then the bank can do that. So I can get a garnish. They might also come up to the value that they see fit, and so it differs on the action that the credit institute decide on doing. But those are some of the consequences of a judgment. A judgment, so it is a flag that stays on your credit report for 5 years. I don't know if there was a question there. Okay. So a judgment stays on your credit report or on your credit profile for 5 years, meaning that for 5 years you might not, you will not be able to access any further credit facility, because now you are flagged. But then after 5 years, the judgment will fall off, meaning that it can be removed from your credit profile. But it does not mean that debt has died. The creditor can still run after you, can still attach on your assets, can still put a garnish on your salary. That account will be alive for the next 25 years. And unless if you make arrangement, you pay it off. Unless if you pay it off, you make arrangement, that is the only way you can come out of it. And then the other thing that can happen, so I'm going to talk about now prescription or prescribed debt. So now let's say that the bank did not take me to court, or the creditors did not take me to court. I have missed payments, I haven't made payments. And there's a prescription act that has been passed for consumers. It says that if I owe a certain amount of money, 3 years, in the 3-year period, I have not paid them, I have not acknowledged the debt, meaning that account can be disputed to be removed. I am not using the words that it dies or it removed, because the credit bureaus, most of the time, they do not remove the accounts. It is the responsibility of the consumer to make sure that the assets are no longer there. But it doesn't happen all the time. The credit bureaus, they might leave it there, and every time you go and access, you apply for an account, you apply for credit, they would still pick it up. So it's the responsibility of the consumer to check their credit report and check their credit profile. Once they notice that this account has prescribed, then they can dispute it. And then one of the other flags that might be found on a credit profile. It's what is called debt review. Okay, debt review, it's something that, it's another topic, bigger topic on its own, but I'm just going to summarize it. So debt review, it's when the client, I'm going to go back to the example that I've made. When I go and open an account, well, let's say I go and open an account for a bond, and I open an account for a car. It happens that I notice I haven't missed payments, but I noticed that towards the end of this month and going forward, I might not be able to pay up the monthly installment. I already can tell that I'm going to drown. So it's very important that as a consumer, I realize that before I find myself into a problem. I notice that I might be finding myself into that space. A relief program, which is called debt counseling. So what does that mean? I can approach a debt counselor and explain to them my situation and apply for debt counseling or debt rehabilitation, which is now called debt review. They will do an assessment to see if I am over indebted. They will have to give me certain forms that I need to fill. They have to explain to me what is debt rehabilitation, what are the impact of it, what are the pros and the cons. Once I truly understand, then I can sign, and then they explain to how the payment is going to go, and then I enter into debt review. The debt counselor will speak to my creditors on my behalf. They will call the bank and tell them that Nokubonga is struggling to pay the monthly installment agreed upon. So this is what we are proposing. This is the amount of money we are proposing. We are also proposing that you decrease the interest over this instance. So it's going to be that back and forth until they agree. If they agree, they disagree. If they disagree, but it's the responsibility of the debt counselor to make sure that process it's done in a manner that benefit the consumer. So once the creditors agree, then the debt counselor will have now to notify the magistrate of the court, and all of those things will be done without me having to pick up any call or write any email. But that process, it takes less than 24 hours to have that flag on your report. You might call today and tomorrow you notice that you are already flagged. So it's a very quick process because they treat it as an emergency that I desperately need help to protect my assets. So this will protect the bank now from coming to repossess the car, or they might come and want to repossess my house. So debt counseling is a program that was meant for people that, I'm not saying meant, but it's a program that is helpful if you've got assets to protect. Unfortunately, it has its loopholes, and we've got debt counselors that are not ethical. They use it. A lot of people now are drowning, or people are suffering because of debt counseling. It has not been explained in the right way. People are getting themselves into debt counseling without realizing they were into debt counseling. So it has its cons. The most important thing is for someone to really, really do their research, look for a credible debt counselor, or seek advice from credit coaches and say, this is the situation that I find myself into. Can you please or kindly lead me into the right path? And then the last thing that I want to touch on that might also affect your credit score or your credit profile. I'm going to go back to my example again. Let's say now that I have failed to make payments to my accounts and I am handed over to one of the collecting agent. I'm going to say ABC. I'm handed over to ABC. I'm handed over to ABC. It will reflect on my credit profile. But if the creditor that I owe has not reported on credit bureau, it will list that I'm owing Mulalo 5,000 Rand, but Mulalo now has handed me over to ABC. Then it will also reflect my account. So Mulalo 5,000 Rand, ABC 5,000 Rand. But when they do the calculations, the ratio of debt versus or debt to credit ratio, then it will look like I am owing 10,000 Rand. So that is called duplicates. So duplicates, they also affect the credit score. They affect your payment history, because it will show that I'm owing Mulalo. It will show all the months that I haven't paid. Also with ABC, it will still also show the same account, but then it will also show all the months that I haven't paid. And now when the credit facilitator, that credit institution that I'm applying, let's say I'm applying for bond, when they look into my credit profile, they see ukuthi hi, Nokubonga is missing a lot of payments in 2 accounts. In actual fact, it is only 1 account. So that is the last one of the the last thing that I wanted to touch on before I can open for questions if there are any questions.
Thank you very much for the beautiful presentation. Let me just check on the chat. I think there's one that came in. It say that when you are in debt counseling and if you pay out all your debt, how long does it take to get out of debt counseling?
The first thing that is supposed to happen is that the process to you when you enter, they explain to you the criteria of entering, they explain to you the criteria of exiting. So once you exit or exited with, except you paying it, you don't have to wait until you finish paying your bond to come out of that review. So your debt counselor needs to explain to you that as soon as all of these accounts are paid up, I will give you a clearance certificate. So a clearance certificate is what it's the debt counselor's responsibility to report to credit bureau and say that Nokubonga is done. But if they didn't do that, if I have the clearance certificate, then I will need to be the one who submit now my clearance certificate on my debt on credit bureau, and I will dispute and say I have paid all my debts. I am applying to exit debt review. Find the attached letter. That is if the debt counselor has failed to do that. So the most important thing is for you to get the debt clearance letter. And no one else can take you out of debt review. Debt counselors put you in, debt counselors put you out. If you take the route of the attorneys or the route of the court, it will take long because that is not their field of expertise, but they can also might be able to assist. But the quickest or the easiest way is to seek assistance from a debt counselor.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. So the people that put you in are the people that will take you out.
And that's where now the money-making scheme is coming in. Like they've figured that loophole and they're just putting people in because they know once you are in, there's no way out except you paying them again to take you out. That's the sad part.
Sure. Okay. There's a question. Starts by saying, thank you, Nokubonga. Please share your thoughts on debt consolidation loans.
Okay, so I would say debt consolidation, it's wise. I'm not making any recommendation. I'm not a financial advisor, therefore I can't make any recommendation. But I would say it's much more I don't want to use the word safe. I don't know which the right English word. Approach a registered or a credible institution to get a consolidation loan. It's a bit difficult because you will go and get a debt consolidation loan and they say you don't qualify because of your debts, and you want the loan because you want to clear your debts. So it's always advisable that you don't wait until you are drowning to save yourself. So once you realize that you might need a debt consolidation loan, it's best to approach the bank. So what is a consolidation loan? A consolidation loan is when I owe Mulalo, I owe Puti, I owe Quarrel, I owe, 5 different people or 5 different creditors. And I realized that I am struggling to pay each one of them. Then I decide to go to Bank Z and explain to them that I would love to pay you alone this amount of money every month. If I can get a loan from you and you pay all my creditors, and then I know that I'm only owing you. It will take longer now for me to pay Z person, but it's going to bring so much relief because I'm only paying one person. But now the trick is a lot of these consolidating institutions, they are actually debt counselors. They promise over the phone to put you under debt consolidation, and it's not a consolidation, it's a debt counseling. Then you find yourself stuck in that circle. So the best, go to the credible or the well-known banks that we are familiar with.
Thank you for sharing that. And also it also highlights the importance of asking to read the agreement before you sign or agree to anything, because you could be sold X, Kanti, you're signing up for Y. There's a question there that's talking about the 99 Rand scam. So there are those 99 Rand scam debit orders that just pops out of nowhere and debit our accounts. Does reversing and blocking this have a negative effect on the credit record?
99 scam debit order. So it's a debit order. It's not a credit account, right? Because I think the only solution here is to go to the bank and have the debit order stopped. I don't see it affecting the credit score because it's not an account. It's not. I don't know what service would they be offering, because it's a credit. It's an exchange between service. It's a service for money, or it's products for money. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. Okay, I see another question there. And then after this, I will ask my question. What does it mean, or how do you go about having the creditor not having a clear record of how much you owe or of what you will own, but the company you were handed over still collecting on the creditor's behalf?
All right. So there's a beautiful thing that we have in South Africa, which is called National Credit Regulator. They regulate most of these different entities. They regulate the debt collectors. They regulate the debt counselors. The only challenge is their turnaround time when you go in and seek their assistance. It might, it needs you to understand that they might not answer you as quick as you want. So once you notice a irregularity, you must identify first who is at fault here. So if it's the creditor needs to give you a statement of your account. Then your statement will stipulate what you are owing, how much are you owing, when are you expected to pay. Then if the creditor has now handed you over to debt collectors, the debt collectors need now to be the one that are giving you that information. Failure to do so, you have a right to report on National Credit Regulator and report that specific debt collector. And there's a form that you fill if you go to the website of NCR, you go under debt collectors. There is an information that you are given there. There's guidance that gives you an idea how to dispute or how to report irregularities that are coming from debt collectors. I know from my personal experience, the moment you write an email to a debt collector and you stipulate the act, whatever act that you want assistance with, they will respond to you within 24 hours. The moment they see that you know what you're about, the moment they see that you are saying, if you don't respond to me, I am taking this matter to National Credit Regulator or to Ombudsman or to debt collecting board, they will respond to you. They are riding the wave of ignorance. As long as our people are ignorant, they will ride that wave.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm answered.
yeah, it's quite clear. And I think that just stressed the importance of our people enlightening themselves when it comes to these things. Just like how you would pick up a newspaper and read it, pick up an act and read it. It's not complicated. I see the comment saying that, yes, thanks, answered. So thank you for answering that one. Mine was something similar to this because of the credit, like the payment plans that I had seen before. You would see that someone is paying a certain amount, but what they owe is still going up. What causes that, and what do they need to do in such a case?
Do you mind giving me a scenario of a specific account?
Let's say a person is on debt counseling, and then they get to be told that, Moralo, you would need to pay 1,000 Rand back. But when you look at the statement, that person is paying the 1,000 Rand, but the total amount that they owe is still going up each and every single month. What is happening there? And how easy is it to get hold of that statement so that I can see that, yes, I'm handed over, but what I'm paying, is it making a difference, or is my debt coming down?
Okay. So with debt review, right? You're not paying the money to the debt counselor, right? So that your debt counselor is supposed to explain that you will pay the money to payment distributing agent. In South Africa, we only have 4 that are legally recognized. So you should know who is your PDA. You should know who is your payment distributing agent. Those people are responsible for making payments on your behalf. Those people are responsible for providing the debt counselor and you with the statement of your accounts, right? I'm saying this because most of the time the debt counselors don't provide. But once you know that, even if I don't get my statement from the debt counselor, I can ask my PDA, my payment distributing agent. But now this is the one thing that is not explained. If I enter debt review, the first 2 months of the money that I'm paying, it's not going to my debts. It's not going to service my debts. This is the law now. It gives the debt counselor it's not the right, but it gives them the platform to pay themselves first. The first 2 months, it goes to the debt counselor. So that's why I was saying that the debt counselors need to explain before you agree. So if I'm paying 5,000 Rand, first 5,000 Rand goes to Mulalo. The cap, according to the law, it should not be more than 8,000 Rand for an individual. If we are spouses, then it should not be more than 9,000, meaning that the debt counselor cannot charge you above the cap. So the first 4,000, it goes to Mulalo. The second 4,000 goes to Mulalo. I don't know the negotiations. If there was attorneys involved, the debt counselor need to explain to Mulalo that the third month that money might go to the attorneys. And then they also need to explain to you that they've got an administration fee, a monthly administration fee, meaning that if you're paying 4,000 Rand, 3,800 might be going to your creditors. 200 Rand will always go to the debt counselor for the monthly service fee. So you see now, you've already paid for 4,000, 8,000, 12,000 coming from your account. In your mind, you thinking, I am making progress on my debts, but practically speaking, you have not started because you are only now paying, you've just covered your debt cancelling fees. And on top of your 4,000 Rand, it's no longer 4,000 that going to your creditors, is 3,800 because 200 goes to the monthly fee. So those are the things that need to be explained. And so that now you know why why the money is not making sense. Sometimes the creditor never agreed on the lowered monthly statement, a monthly installment. That also could be the problem, where you are paying 500 Rand, but Bank A never agreed on that. Then they will keep on charging you what they want to charge you. So you need to know, you need to be able to know that no, Bank A has agreed to this money. And most of the time they don't agree. So there's always a back and forth between the debt counselor and the creditors. But debt counselors don't explain these things. They leave it as it is. Once you are in and they got their commission, you are on your own, baby. They gone to the next. I'm not saying all of them. They go into the next client, and you will only see the sad part. You will only see after a year when you realize that I'm supposed to be left with 24 months, and it says you are left with 72 months to pay. That's the sad reality.
No, we're sitting here getting business ideas of where we can get quick money in 2 months. I'm kidding. Yeah, so tell me, how or where do you come in? What do you offer as your services, and how much do you charge for those services?
So my service, I'm a credit coach. So I coach Umulalo on her debt and credit journey. So I assess. The first thing that we do is to do an assessment, because I can never know what's going on until I assess, and then I'll provide whatever services that is added on coaching after we have done the assessment. So I offer assessment, I offer removal of prescribed debts. I advise on debt review. I don't remove it, but I advise on that. If you want to enter, we go through the money management process and see if you do qualify or not, if it's necessary or not. If you are under debt review, I also assess and facilitate that process until you come out. Facilitate in terms of showing you, or because I'm not in a position to choose a debt counselor for you, but I do facilitate that this might be an ideal debt counselor to choose because of maybe the relationship I have with them, and I've seen how they've worked and assisted the clients. So I do coaching, I remove prescribed debts, I facilitate in debt review. Judgment, I also facilitate in terms of what will be the best course to take, and money management as well, but mainly on debt, and not where to invest, and those are other people's line of expertise. Money management in terms of just you're over indebted, or your affordability. If you want to buy a car, we're looking at it. If you want to buy a house, we're looking at it. What do we need to do? How do we get you to a position where when the creditor look at you, they're like, this is a perfect candidate, a perfect client for us. So those are the services I offer.
Thank you very much.
And
You were saying?
passionate about it and trainings. And so I'm saying the last thing, it's my trainings and workshops. I'm very, very much passionate about that one. I might even do it for free, but don't, I'm not advertising it. But yeah, it's something that I love with my utmost being.
That's why I was like, how much do you charge for those things? Because I didn't want to hear the I'll do it for free aspect of it. But sometimes when one is sitting here and listening to this, they might think, okay, maybe this is something that other people need because they don't know yet what it looks like. So sicele homework in terms of where do we go from this session? How do we go and get this credit report? I know I did mine. So as we started this session, I had to search for it. And then it says I did it in November last year. And then it was with experience or the credit report, my details. So as you were taking us through that, I was just scrolling it. Yo, lab, nama accounts, nama term loan, this and that. So where can one go to find this? And once they find it, what is the thing that if they see it, they know they definitely need to contact you and start on this journey?
Okay, so I do assist in terms of, creating the profiles on the websites, but I believe that people can also do it on their own. You can get, South Africans are allowed to, or not allowed, English after 7. It is your right to get a free credit report once a year. So I recommend Experian. I recommend TransUnion, but you pay on TransUnion. I recommend VCCB. I recommend Splendy. I recommend XDS. If you are someone who also wants to venture into property, there's another one, but it's not a credit. It's a credit repair, but you can't dispute. It's TPN. It's mainly it also reports on property as well. There are a lot of credit bureaus, but these ones that I've mentioned mainly are reporting on the credit profiles we're using. But you can go as far as the ones that are reporting on your medical aid and medical services and stuff, if you don't really looking at those things.
Okay, no problem. There was a question around getting those platforms again. I think after this session, we will just get them written down, because if someone has never heard the word Experian, even if you repeat it, it's better if we write it down so that it's easier to just search it and then go and get your free report. So how do we get hold of you?
My cell phone number is 078 446 7179. And my email address is Nokubonga. Okay, maybe I must just write it there. Nokubonga at Sizo Credit Repair .co.za. And then my WhatsApp number 078 446 7179.
Thank you very much. As we share this with also some people that couldn't join, we will make sure that we add your contact details, because I think sometimes people sit not knowing that they need you, or they just didn't know that such services do exist. And before we close, I just want to ask if there is anyone else that would want to come out of mute and then thank our guest tonight, maybe say a few words, and then we will close.
Hi, Molalo. Can I come in?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Molalo. And thank you so much, Nokubonga. On behalf of everyone that's online, we would like to thank you for the session. It has been very insightful. Hopefully, we will find ourselves in good book and we can even use your services. Thanks to Mulalo and also the contact details. She will be sharing with all of us, and appreciate all your efforts and the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Nokubonga, for affording us this time. I was just thinking when you said, I want to do this session, I want to do it on Friday at 7, I was just like, yo, on a Friday at 7 p.m. Okay, it's a little weird. But I love how we have honored the invitation and the time that you had selected. And thank you as well for giving us this time, this knowledge, things that we didn't even know exist. So to everyone, have a lovely weekend. You know what weekends are for. So have fun. And then, yeah, we shall connect. I will share the recording link. I will share the contacts as well. And then she'll also put together the credit bureau list that she spoke about. And also maybe you can just note that this is what you need to do. Go find it. If you find this, come. Or if you need assistance with just registering and getting access to your credit bureau, then they can reach out to you and then you can assist. So, siyabonga.
Thank you.